All right, so we are back, episode 36, Cutler Cast, and we been trying to nail this guy down for quite some time. Devin Physique. I didn't know your last name was Physique, bro.
It's there permanently now at this point.
So tell me a little bit about, first of all, tell me what your name is.
Like my full name?
Yeah.
Devin Gregory Zimmerman.
Wow. First.
So it's German. Pretty German.
Okay.
My mom's half Mexican, and then my dad's half German.
Did you know that, or?
No, I'm learning about it right now. We were just talking about this off record. Like, what's your real name?
A couple, back in the Shredz days. I mean, my dad hasn't been in my life since I was a kid. So when I had the physique, I'm like, everyone knows me for that. So I'm like, maybe I'll just change it.
How long has it been Devin Physique? Since Instagram started, or?
I would say since 2011, right?
Is that when?
I think that's when it was big.
Shoot,
I would say it's been about 11 years that I've been on social media now.
So you want to change your name to Devin Physique, like
legally.
when Ron Artest changed his name to Meta World Peace?
Yeah.
That's what people call me as, right? Nobody ever says, "Hey, Devin Zimmerman, come here." Like my friends don't even call me that.
I'm going to call you Mr. Zimmerman.
I bet no one knew. So I think I started Instagram like 2012, but I remember the early days. You're one of the original social media people, and I think you have a great background because, you were part of the Shredz people that kind of all got famous at once. I mean, Joey Swole, Paige, yourself. Who else was there?
I mean, those were the main ones. We had like Alex Turner, Ainsley Rodriguez.
That's right.
Colin was with us. But, the ones that really surged were me, Joey, and Paige.
Okay, yeah. So that led – I'm going to go back a little bit, though, because, when you graduated high school, like what was this your vision to be?
Absolutely not. I hated the fucking gym.
Really?
Even in high school, like I ran cross country. I was super skinny.
What'd you weigh when you graduated high school?
I think like 120, 125 max.
Wow.
I hated everything about the gym. I remember they would want us to do strength training, and I'm like, absolutely not. Like, I don't want to. Why do I want to fucking lift weights? I'd rather go I was that kid that would skip the entire gym and go right to the basketball court and go play basketball.
So did you play sports? I did cross country.
Yeah, I did. I mean, when I was a kid, I played baseball and I played basketball, and then I switched from baseball heavily into basketball because I just liked how much more intense it was, like fast pace. Yeah. My mom should have told me, "Hey, son, you're not going to be tall. Stick with baseball."
Where was this? Where were you living at the time
when that was going on?
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in Chino Hills for the most part. That's where I went to high school. I moved there when I was like 11. So the vast majority, before I moved out of my mom's house when I was like 19, I lived in Chino Hills.
And you had younger sisters, or
2?
Okay. Yeah, I see them a lot on. You post them a lot on social media.
Yeah, one of them's on social media, and then the other one, I mean, she's on it, but she doesn't really use it the way that we do.
And you're close to your mom. I mean,
yeah, our whole family's super close. I grew up with sisters. I've always been around like females. I feel like I've always gotten along better with females than anyone else. And like I said, we have like a group chat. We're that close, so I've always been connected with them.
And are they here in Vegas, or?
No, they live in my youngest sister and my mom live in Newport, and then my older one, she's 25. She lives like more like Riverside area.
Yeah.
So they're out there. They're always still trying to get me to go back there.
I remember. So the early days, you kind of being pictured in Newport, and I came from Orange County actually before I moved to Vegas. So I kind of know the area a bit, but with you, you migrated obviously to social media. And where did you find the gym? And because I remember you came right out of social media, like you had a physique. I mean, obviously you carry the moniker Devin Physique, right?
Yeah.
So when did you actually find the gym and realize, okay, I can potentially build a physique like this?
Yeah, so when I realized that even my running career was over, I just didn't have a passion for it. I never did. I was just good. I just was over it. So I was skinny, and I remember, I've told this story many times, but one of my friends after a run said, like, I look so skinny, I look like an anorexic patient. And mind you, I've been skinny all my life, so that never really affected me. In high school, my friends used to pick on me, and I knew I was going to get fucked up if someone tried to fight me. I couldn't defend myself. So for some reason, that statement stuck in my head. And so I had a friend of mine that had been asking me like, dude, let me get you big. So I just went to him and I'm like, yo, let's do it. And so we got on it, and I kind of never looked back from there.
You remember the first gym you joined out in
Chino Hills? Yeah, it was Chino Hills, 24-hour fitness. I don't know if you've ever trained.
How old were you when this happened?
I started working out when I was 19 and a half.
That's where Sean Ray kind of was from that area, Chino Hills. Did you know who Sean was
at
the time? Or?
Well, towards the Shredz days, he was working with us, and I think he was living in Chino or Chino Hills or something like that.
And go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. So you found the gym there, and were you guys one of these kids that just didn't really, you have a friend that showed you how to work out. Did you like go right into bodybuilding? I mean,
I think at that point I was just trying to get bigger. I mean, I was so skinny and I wanted to build my confidence. Not that it was lacking, but just get bigger and work out and do something. So he just took me under his wing and we started working out. And that was probably from like 19 to 21 before I even touched social media. So in that process, I went from like maybe 120 to 160 or so. And then it wasn't until I moved out of my mom's house in Chino Hills and moved to Newport where things started to really take a spin and go crazy on social media for me.
Were you following the bodybuilders at that point?
That's,
like
that's one of the crazy ones too. And like I told you earlier, like when I got into fitness and with the Shredz, people used to always ask me like, who motivated you? I'm like, honestly, just me. I didn't even know who you were. I never watched YouTubes. Like, Ross is always saying how he's watched. Oh, I'm like, I never watched any of those. None of the Ronnie Coleman videos. Like, that's not how I got, brought into fitness. I just wanted to look good for myself.
Yeah, I remember one of the Olympias when Shredz had a big booth. I remember, and you were at the SLS hotel. Did you stay there?
Yeah, we stayed there. I think back-to-back years.
Yeah, and I actually was eating in the cafe, and I remember seeing you in there. And we didn't say hello to each other, but I knew who you were just based off the social media. And I knew you as a guy. I mean, we can talk about Shredz in a minute, but like you were a guy that had crazy cars and motorcycles, and you were pretty young at the time. How old were you around that time?
I mean, by the time I attained all of them, I was 25.
Okay,
so it started about 22, and then I was getting new ones like every year consecutively after that.
And I noticed that you had the dogs that became a venture
correct
shortly after, and so I knew, like, I used to see so much on social media about that. But I want to go back and talk about the transition in Newport. And did you move to Newport base because Shredz was there, or is that something that you started training there and eventually someone approached you?
Yeah, so again, like I told you, from 19 to 20, about that, before I moved to Newport, my mom's like, well, if you want to, do this personal training thing, because I was getting into the gym, you need to move towards the beach. That's where the money is. So I was like, all right, well, so I quit my jobs that I had that were in Chino Hills, and I got 2 jobs out there, and then I started doing the fitness thing out there. And that's when, I kind of just went on social media and started posting my progress. But back then, selfies weren't a thing. People looked at you differently when you posted yourself, like, oh, you're conceited or you're full of yourself. I lost a lot of friends because they just didn't understand what I was doing.
And how, like, were you pretty developed by this point?
I mean, obviously not where I'm at now. I thought I was in that process. I mean, put on 40 pounds. But when I go look at pictures now, I feel way smaller then. But again, nobody was doing what I was doing on social media. There was a few of us like me, and that's where Shredz really dominated because they found and monopolized who was already on there with a good following, and we took them all, essentially. We were all kind of doing that. You have those front runners that do YouTubes, you have front runners that do Vine, all those things. I think we just got on that fitness space when it was new and no one was doing it.
And Instagram was your first kickoff then?
Yep, absolutely.
And the Shredz office was close to where you lived. And did you guys all live in some building that was there?
Yeah, so before that, though, they lived in Jersey City, okay. And they had me move out there for a whole year. And I went out there because I wanted to show my commitment to them. So I packed. I never lived on the East Coast, never even been on the East Coast. And I just packed up my shit with my old best friend, and we just went there. And
you lived in Jersey?
Yeah, I fucking hated it.
Really?
Yeah, I still to this day.
I didn't know Shredz. Now I'm thinking about it.
No, I visited. I went and saw Arvin and the crew over there in Jersey City,
yep.
Like right outside the city one time.
Correct.
And
they were like right under the bridge.
And and they were in this tall, like
it almost like a Gotham. We used to say it looked like Gotham City because it was just towering.
Yeah, so I went and visited them there, and then but I thought they had been in Newport and then they moved.
No, so that was the second venture. So I was out there for a year. That's when I got my first friend. She was like a little companion for me, and that's where that started for that as well. And in my head, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to save money. I hate it here. I used to say it was the devil's asshole. That's how much I just hated that place. So, we took my friend's car
it's
up
hard
there.
Going from California.
Yeah,
there,
especially never even being there. So,
yeah,
I pretty much was paying my phone bill for the entire year. So when I came back, I decided, I can't do this anymore. I came back, and then shortly after is when they came. And that was also when my first big purchases, because I saved all my money, and then I got a GTR right when I came back.
And that was like the hot thing, right?
And then from there, it kind of just, kept more and more things kept piling on, and more, things that were happening with Shredz.
Yeah, a lot of social media. Do you remember all the early?
Yeah, no, I remember seeing it all. I didn't know you guys. I didn't know I didn't know you because I didn't really get to know you until recently, in the last year and a half. But I knew who you were and I knew who the other guys were, but I didn't always know the backstory.
What was the pitch? Like, what was your place, like on social media of that team? I mean, because you had Paige, who was like, she was like the first fitness girl that really got attention, right? I mean,
Yeah.
she was huge. And, you know, you had Joey who was jacked, right? And then yourself, I mean, how did you fit into that? I mean, you weren't totally tatted up back then,
I wasn't.
right?
Yeah, I think when we compare all of them, like Joey's big, right? He's an acquired look. He looks a certain way. There's not many people that want to look as big as him, right? And then there was me, where it was like the more mainstream, especially when fitness started to get big. You know, me and Joey would talk all the time. He's like, you just are always going to have a different demographic because people want to look like you. People don't want to look like me.
You were naturally lean.
Yeah.
And that was your key, right? I mean, you pretty much could eat. I mean, let's be real. Your diet, you can probably eat whatever you really want and still stay pretty lean. I would
say, I mean, especially people that aren't in the fitness space, they're going to look at me and think I'm still lean. Obviously, we have expectations of ourselves, but I know I could pretty much cheat every day and never be fat.
Must be nice.
I know, right? When it's putting on weight, that's when it's a bitch.
Did you ever like want to go compete or be like Jay?
Yeah, so you know, to piggyback off like that intro with social media, it still wasn't a place that was being made money, you know. So for me, yeah, I'm on there and I have 10,000 followers at that time, you know, but that wasn't being lucrative for me to make money. And then I was doing prepping for my first show, and that's when Shredz kind of came in at that same time period. But I was doing the show because that's how you were noticed, right? I mean, you obviously know you've been doing it forever.
Yeah.
So back then,
so did they like slide in your DMs and say, "Hey, we are interested in you"?
Yeah. So like I was in the middle of my prep, and I remember Joey just DM'd me. Actually, you know what? It's funny we say DMs, but that wasn't a thing. You know, we had Kick Messenger.
I don't know what that is.
KIK.
All they had, you know, back
like
in those days,
messenger.
it literally was a picture and comments. I remember if I wanted to flirt with a girl, I'd go back to a really old photo and I would literally type either my Kick Messenger or my phone number.
Wow.
You didn't know that?
This
is a long time ago.
Even in the beginning of the Shredz promotions, we used to say, like, you know, when we talk about the bottles and at the end, Kick message me. Almost like a DM, but they had to go to a completely different app and message me.
Yeah, it was like people would go way back to your very first picture. Hey, here's my phone number, and it'd pop up.
Okay.
Because nobody's going to go back. And then once someone texts, they would go delete it.
Yep, exactly.
Because they didn't have DMs. This is like in, 2012, 2013?
Yeah, even probably 21.
Even before that.
Yeah.
See, I joined, I think, in 2012, and Larry is the one that got me. He said, you got to try this thing, Instagram. And, you know, I was a Facebook guy. I had, 6.5 million on Facebook at the time, which was like way more than everyone else. And I mean, I remember going on Facebook and getting a gazillion views or videos, you know, on whatever content I put out there. But this is before people were really monetizing the platforms. Yeah. So you started this whole Shredz thing. Did you compete actually, or I didn't even?
Yeah,
know
I did two. I did 2 shows.
Where?
Yeah, the first one I did was
NPC or
NPC. The first one I did was a John Lindsay show, and it was at Culver City. I remember. I don't remember which one it was, and I think I got that one 3rd or 4th place. And then after that, I was like, honestly, this isn't for me. Like, I don't like being on stage. I don't like posing. You know, nothing about it was fun for me except the working out aspect. And then, you know, I was like, you know what, I'll do another show. So I did one in Jersey. And Tyler Sackett was dieting me for that.
Oh, really?
One. Yeah, he was dieting. Because I was with Shredz at that time. So they flew out there. It was in Jersey. So they went to the show. They paid for it. They did all that stuff. And then I did that one, and I placed even worse. And it was just posing.
What
obviously.
was your physique like at that point? Like, were you lacking, like, overpowering certain body parts, or were you a leg guy, or? I don't know if I see you train legs, bro. So
every once in a while. Hey, you know what's funny is to piggyback on the guy that taught me with working out. We never did legs, and so like it's always been a struggle of mine to do it. You know, like I mean, I'm better at it now. People always make fun of me at the gym because they've been seeing me do it like consistently over the last year. But I'd find every reason not to do it.
So what was the reason when Joey reached out to you? What was the reason that he said, "Hey, I want you on this team"? Was there an angle?
I would assume again, because they were smart, him and Arvin, they researched the social media platform, found the fitness space people, and who had a lucrative following at that time. And again, I think I was at like 8,000. And back then, that was a lot. And Nate Diesel, I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah, I remember.
He had like 10K. Paige was at like 6 or 7. I remember I had more than her. And then Joey was just getting started. So it's like he like saw us all and he seeked us all out separately. Because we all joined shortly after.
But why
each
did
other.
you have that much following? I mean, what did you do?
I got a really funny ass story for this, okay? Because this is the truth. So I got on there, and just like any platform, I dissect the fuck out of it. And so I'm like, you know, how are people getting on the For You page? And so back then, it was a basic 8-photo For You page. That's it. And the way you got on it was the first 30 minutes, how many likes and comments you got to your traffic. So if you were somebody that was just getting an influx, they're going to put you on the For You page or the.
And that's like
page.
a popular page,
it's
right?
It's the popular. That's what it's
like
called.
the search thing now.
Yeah, what it is now. It was the popular page. So I did enough research in my head, and I go, I wonder if I buy likes right now and I put it to this one picture in the 30 minutes, if it just pops off. Sure enough, I did it, and I did it again.
How did you find someone to buy likes?
No, I just went on the I just went on a website and I just paid for it, and it was crazy.
How much was it? Do you remember?
Nothing. It was like I think I paid like $5.
$5 for like 200 likes back then. It was a big deal.
No, even more. I think a couple thousand. Wow. It was like insane. Yeah, no, $5 went a long way.
So you got on the popular page?
I did that, and I was getting on it every single time I posted.
And what were you posting at this time?
Just there was only pictures. So it was really progress. But again, selfie wasn't a thing. So me doing these things made me look a certain
like training, or was this the cars yet, or not yet?
No cars. Literally just pictures of me. That's it. Because there's no video. We weren't even filming in the gym. Nobody was doing that unless you were doing it for YouTube, but no one was doing it for Instagram. So it literally was just pictures of me with shirtless, maybe I had some lifestyle ones, me posing like this, just random shit. I mean, that's all it was, because there wasn't anything else. And then Vine came out and it became huge. And then that's when Instagram shut them down by making the video.
Yeah, I thought Vine was supposed to be the next big I never understood it, though. It was kind of different.
Yeah, it was 7 seconds, but it was just the fact that people were making quick videos.
There's a lot of big Vine guys.
I mean, look at TikTok now. It's all videos, and people are obsessed with it.
There's so many platforms you can't keep.
I mean, that's how the Paul brothers, weren't they?
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
YouTube.
There's those people that get on certain platforms at the right time and they skyrocket. The Pauls, YouTube, that was the big thing.
I used to work with Pam Rodriguez years ago. Remember the model on
I
MySpace?
Pam. Yeah,
dude, she had 60 million on MySpace. I used to work with her. I have no idea. I mean, once MySpace went away, she kind of went away. Every once in a while, I'd see her on Instagram with like.
I mean, where's Tom? Where's Tom at?
Yeah, right.
He lives in Vegas here. That's what I was told.
Really?
Yeah, because someone said I'll help him get him on the podcast.
Oh, that's right. Remember? Yeah, you told me that.
He lives in Vegas. Tom.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Yeah. We need to get him on the podcast. Talk about MySpace.
Yeah, so crazy. Did you do MySpace, by the way?
I did.
Really?
Yeah, and that was that
was like a dating.
Well, because when I went to
I had a big following on MySpace.
When I went to college, Facebook, it was like the transition. MySpace was high school, and then Facebook was like, oh, you're in college now.
So back then, Facebook, you had to have a college email address to sign up. You couldn't just sign up.
Yep.
So if you didn't have something .edu or .whatever, they wouldn't let you.
Correct.
And that's why if you weren't going to college, you had MySpace. So all the musicians and everyone was on MySpace. So once they opened up the floodgates, everyone went to Facebook, and MySpace just crashed.
Yep.
So tell me about your popularity. So you start building this momentum. How many people were coming up to you and being like, "You're that guy"?
Yeah, I mean, it started happening. I want to say when we went to our expos. I remember one time we just walked the floor.
Was this Shredz or just
this
you?
This is what Shredz at this point. I was getting a little bit of notoriety through my show because we were all starting to form. And it was, I remember right before my show, like a couple weeks before, they rented out a house in LA and we all met up there. Paige met us there and all the athletes. And then that's when they brought me on, they brought Nate on, they brought Paige on. So this team's really building at that point. And then it wasn't until we went to the LA Fit Expo and showed face there that people started putting 2 and 2 together, and then we just kind of skyrocketed from there with the social media.
Mm-hmm. Wow. No, I mean I remember the movement Shredz had. It was
and
crazy.
I always say, like, there was no blueprint back then. We were the blueprint. Like, if anyone now is being successful, they look at what we did and go, this is what you do and this is what you don't do.
Well, what was kind of like the push for Shredz? I mean, I know they had supplements, but
it was all about community and making the consumer and the people buying the product that they're a part of something.
Did they start with a product, or did they actually build this social media thing and then
No, they
launch
had the product first because
Okay.
they had like Tyler Sackett was already on it. Alex Turner was already on it. There were some people that like Chris Abshow, like random people like that I don't even talk to anymore. I know that they're still around somewhere. So they already had a core, and that was Arvin's friends. And then once it got bigger, they still stayed on, but they obviously got replaced by the people that were like bigger faces.
And when did you really see it start taking off? Do you remember like Instagram where, you mentioned 6,000. Do you remember being that like 100 or 2 immediately?
Yeah, you know what? Now that you say that, I don't think I do. I just remember like every single year it just got crazier. I think the first time that it was absolutely crazy was when we went to the Olympia.
And that was at the time that you stayed at SLS?
Probably.
Because you had a huge
We had
booth
3
there,
years.
remember?
I think it was 2013, 14, 15.
You didn't go to Arnold Classic?
I did the Arnold Classic, but see, Shredz only did selected ones. That was the one thing I didn't like is they didn't do every one. they only did the really, really big ones. So when they had the Arnold, I would have like my clothing brand there because I wanted to still give back to people. And that was my
clothing.
That was the dedicated that I had.
Okay.
I don't have it anymore, but that's what I was running with at that time. Because, for me, I liked going to the expos. I liked being able to show people. I mean, you go to so many different events. Like, it is taxing, right? It's a lot of, like, flexing and smiling.
Well, you were taking pictures with fans, right?
Yeah, and so those expos, then people were like, I'm a crazy fan of you, or I follow you. And I remember at that time, I'm like, well, I don't know. I was just as nervous as them. So when they would say, oh, I follow you, I'm like, what do I say back to that? Cool.
Yeah.
Like it was always awkward. Cool. Thank you. So over time, I feel like being on social media, it's also made my personality stand out, like my mannerisms to things, how I talk, because I've been in those positions where people are nervous and I have to be the one that steps up to tell them like, oh, where are you from? How long you been following me? So then they start to
learn the rhythm to try make them feel comfortable, right?
Correct.
Were you just going to the expos with Shredz, or were you actually getting booked all over the place? Just on your own?
It was everything was always through Shredz, and they always wanted to make it where like even if we worked with companies, like he would pay me more money just so that I wouldn't work with them.
No, like for example, if a gym wanted you in Miami Beach, would you not do it?
I think at that time they weren't even that big of a like things going around really that much, because the Shredz thing, I feel like we just everywhere we went, people came to that.
I just don't think the influencers had, like, I was booking stuff obviously my whole career, but maybe because it was a social media thing, it's kind of like people say now, like, oh, they're TikTokers, like meaning like they're kind of discrediting them, right? Where they're like content creators, right?
It's just different eras.
So who taught you like how to propel your social media? Was Arvin kind of a brains behind like some of the content, or did you guys go off each other where like doing collabs with each other? Like what was the push of like having that limited group of people?
Well, we definitely were doing shout for shout with each other pretty frequently. And back then, if I shouted you and you shouted me, I'd grow 5,000 easily. And we would do that pretty consistently.
And who grew the fastest?
Over time, Paige obviously took the wheel on that. And then for a long time, I was ahead of Joey, and then he passed me. And it just kind of stayed like that for the rest of the time, even currently now.
Are you guys all still in contact?
Yeah, I talked to Paige here and there, Joey, same thing here and there. We never were super close other than because we were on the same team. We obviously were having more interactions, but... You
guys all came up, like, you kind of exploded together, so you have that history.
And when did you feel you got your most experience at content? I want to talk about the cars, the motorcycle, the OC living. Like, you became that guy. Like, you had on... you used to wear, like, the suit, like the leathers. Did I see you in a leather suit with your motorcycle with the shirt off and all that?
Maybe. I at that point I was just, I guess trying to inspire people that whatever your goals and dreams are, you can get them if you work hard.
You had Lamborghinis.
By the time I was 25, that was my big, like my last
Lambo.
And then I had obviously the GTR. That was at like 22. And then like 6 months later, I got the Raptor, and then I got a bike. And
you wrapped you were the first one to start wrapping all your cars, right?
Yep, start wrapping them. Yep.
Just living the life, man.
Even the social media content, like, you see people pull up in the nice whips. I feel like I was one of the first ones to do it, if not the first.
Yeah.
To do that, where when people started catching on, it's like move on to something different.
And did you start pivoting to other business based on the social media? So, the Shredz thing, obviously that thing like came and went, right? And then you became a coach, right?
Yeah, so even in the Shredz time, like people were messaging me left and right, like,
how do I look like you?
Or can you coach me, or can you give me a diet or whatever? So then I just took it upon myself to get a certification, and then I started offering meal plans. So in the Shredz time, the main income was pretty much I worked for Flavor God. I don't know if you remember that company, and then them, and then I had some clothing sponsors. But when I was with Live Fit, I remember one time he's like, "How much is he paying you?" And I think I said like $5,000 a month, and he's like, "I'll give you $7,000 if you leave." And I was like, "Okay, well that's a no-brainer. I'm leaving then."
If it was the big brand back then.
Yeah, and they weren't really paying anyone big right? like that. Yeah, exactly. So he really wanted it where like everyone was just with that company. But they were paying us so much money, it didn't really matter.
Were they moving that much product, like supplement wise?
Yeah, stupid amounts. Even Flavor God, I remember when Chad would do a sale and he'd just show me his PayPal account, and it's just like bing, 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 bing. But I've just had this conversation with one of my friends. Back then, the reason it's so different now is there was more consumers back then. When I was doing what I was doing, you were barely getting started. You obviously do it full force now. So a lot of kids that, are doing it now, they weren't doing it back then.
Very limited social media contact.
Very limited. Which to me, like now that I've been in it so long, it's still inspiring me that I know that I influenced so many people to think they have an opportunity to get on a platform. So for me, it makes me feel good to know there is a lot, but then now we have to compete with more people, and it's oversaturated for, you know, content purposes and trying to sell a product and all those things. So
did it become difficult being trapped in social media? Like, did you feel your whole life became, okay, how can I create an image or a video that gets more traffic than the last one?
Yeah, I think you're always doing that. I mean,
I feel that way, honestly, right now a lot.
I mean, I still to this day, not as bad as before. I mean, if it didn't get a certain amount of likes in a certain amount of time, I'd be pissed off. I would take it down. You know, we'd do that all the time, you know, instead of just like, why does it matter that much? And no one really gives a fuck but you.
And how hard was it to create the captions and...
At that time, I mean, you know, Chad helped me with a lot of the captions, and he wrote really, I mean, he was my best friend. He knew my life, and he was really good with his words and stuff. So he'd help me with a lot of them. Or I was just putting, you know, how I felt at that time. You know, I was trying to be as transparent as I could. And again, motivate, you know, the people following me to reach for
What was
goals.
your family's reaction to all this, like, fame and...
I mean, I guess they were along for the ride too, you know, because my mom was a part of Shredz too. They brought her on.
Oh,
so
okay. What did your mom do for the company?
She was just an ambassador, so she was promoting the product.
She works out, obviously.
Yeah,
right?
and she was in phenomenal shape at that time period in her life too. I mean, she's still in great shape.
Your mom was with you at the Olympia when I saw her.
Yeah, because I mean, she was
when
one of the ambassadors.
SOS.
So she was doing like the, you know, selling the bottles or stuff like that. So she was always a part of it.
Yeah, crazy.
Wow, I didn't know. I mean, I knew, I just never knew at what magnitude it got to.
Yeah,
and when Shredz started to kind of fade out, you know, I know there's this thing that one of these commercials I saw, and the guy is screaming at you about shopping your pictures. What's up with the
about chopping what?
Shopping like your pictures are like,
you know, it's funny is I talked about this last time too. Is, you know, when I was with Shredz, their editors were changing my photos initially. They were the ones modifying them, right? And I'm like, damn, I look good. You know, like shit. You know, and most of the photos that
I might not even know, like, damn, I look that good.
This happened in the magazines too. If you remember, that there was a lot of blown up, like muscular development. You used to see these blown up, like the angle of the lens, especially Per Bernal. Like they would have these certain angles with these big lenses that would just make me look like monstrous, right? So I think that became like the thing. A lot of people were changing their images. And a lot of people are like, why are you doing that? That's not real and this and that. And I mean, this is what social media became a little bit, right?
I mean, do people even talk about it now? And I feel like it's worse now than it ever was before. Mm-hmm. I mean, girls are getting BBLs and they're still photoshopping their stuff. So then what's the point of the surgery? You know, so I feel like, but no one really talks about it. I mean, not the way that they were then. And I think a lot of the things that happened with Shredz, and even for my personal self or Joey or Paige, people put it on such a crazy pedestal because they weren't, I feel like they weren't smart enough to know the business side of things to have the certain things that we were doing. So they were just like mind blown that we were doing things that were like deceitful.
You guys were the first people to kind of,
I
mean, the fame came.
You know, even I look at it like for online coaching, like most, if not all people have a team working for them. Like think about the first thing The Rock says when he takes his award. He thanks millions of people under him. You know, so I mean, if you want to have a successful business, I mean, do you do Jay Cutler by yourself? No. You know, so I think people are just, not everyone comprehends how a successful business works, and so in their head they're like, you tricked us.
Yeah, and I think, you know, for you, like you've been through the coaching process, you know, the online stuff, and now you've pivoted to being a mentor.
Correct.
And I see you post on Instagram how I can help you create a revenue from social media. So now you're going back, which a lot of people don't know, you're an original creator. You run these advertisements. I mean, how has that been for you to transition now? Because, you know, you don't do as much. I mean, I want to talk about the dogs too, but you have mentorship now. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I hired a mentor myself, and we came up with, you know, me working in that space for social media, you know, like we talked about, it's oversaturated with a lot of fitness people. And I'll tell you right now, like when I first started fitness to now, I mean, you may be different than me or may feel the same, but like my passion for it and obsession then is not the same now. I still love to work out, but it's not like I don't eat and breathe it. You know, I want to still have nice foods. I want to have a balance. I didn't do those things. I was really just sheltered. So to pivot off that, as far as now, I'm losing my train of thought. What were you asking me again? Sorry.
The mentorship.
Oh, okay. So, for me, with the saturation of online coaching, like obviously at this point, people know I offer it. So I need to get something that's different than what everyone else is doing. And not a lot of people are offering a mentorship, right?
We spoke about this. We spoke about how saturated everyone is an online trainer now, right?
Correct.
I'll sell you a meal plan or a workout program.
Yep.
How can you better yourself? So this is what the mentorship
Correct.
is,
So
right?
it's essentially teaching somebody that maybe still isn't on the level they need to make the right types of money. So maybe their posting schemes aren't right. Maybe they're not putting up the right types of content, or maybe they know nothing about the platform at all, but they want to get on there and have an opportunity just like everyone else does. So essentially that's what I'm teaching them, the ins and outs of what it takes to use social media on a consistent basis to make money.
You mentioned social media. That include TikTok or
I do put that in my mentorship. TikTok
Okay.
and Instagram are my two main sources. I just recently started utilizing YouTube Shorts, which is just
It works.
the Reels. And so I'm essentially taking a Reel and a TikTok and a YouTube and putting them all on the same platform at the same time.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah,
What
no,
we just put up.
we put one up of him and Ronnie, and I look at it now, and it's over 600,000 views.
Yeah, see?
we
And
only
then how
only
many-
have 17,000 subscribers.
Yeah. And how many subscribers did you get off that?
I don't know the exact numbers, but like at night now, I've noticed like if I'm on YouTube, you'll go to the Reels area and you'll see a lot of really funny stuff, and you just scroll through them. It's better than watching a whole video, and then if you like it, you click it, and it directs you.
Yeah.
So it's a very valuable.
I mean, every time I
tool.
see you're filming content, though, like you're the guy in the gym, and listen, the crazy thing is like we met like kind of through Bear, right? A mutual friend,
Pretty
like,
much,
really
as far as conversation.
Like I remember he like literally gave us each other phone number, and he says, "Hey, you're moving to Vegas, so." You migrated to Vegas. Is there a reason that you migrated to Vegas versus Orange County?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously had lived in Orange County from 19 to 27, I think. And I think I was just tired of the people I was around. I just wanted a fresh start. And so for me, I could live wherever, really. So it's just a matter of like, where did I see myself otherwise? And I knew like you lived out
And this
here.
is pre-pandemic. I mean,
Oh,
this
yeah.
is
How long
before.
have you been here now?
It'll be 4 years in November.
Okay.
So it's 2017 is when I moved here.
And I remember he's like, "Hey, we're good people. Like,
Yep.
link up." And I think you were training at Lift Factory at the time. I think you came out and trained there. But how was the transition moving from Orange County? Because listen, I came from Orange County, and listen, it's still the best weather in the world. And people come here in the summers, reach the highest points these months, July, August. You had your cars, and I know you have your Jeep and whatever else. So maybe you could do some more off road here, but. Like, was the transition easier? Was it better or worse than you thought?
I mean, it wasn't too bad. I mean, I knew it was hot here. I've obviously was
came back
visiting-
and forth, yeah.
Yeah, I've been here enough, obviously, through Olympia, and then Tyler was living here, so I stayed with him a couple times. So there was only a few places that I would have relocated, and I thought to myself, Vegas isn't far from California if I ever decided this didn't work out for me and I wanted to go back.
And you still go back and forth as it is.
Yeah, and it's a quick trip. And to me, I don't really care for the beach that much. I mean, I like it, but I mean, I've lived on the beach for years and I never went to it.
I never went when I lived there, which is crazy.
I feel like you value things when you're not.
So, in your opinion, what's like the pros and cons of Vegas versus California?
I mean, I guess you could say the people too. I mean, I feel like things that are so normalized here aren't as normalized in LA. At least I never was around it to feel that way.
Like, give me an example.
I mean, we could be talking about relationships, how people live their life, the party aspect of things, people not really having a normal schedule.
Yeah.
I mean, even for the gym.
Here, it's just a free-for-all.
Yeah, it's just a free-for-all.
I feel, and this is from the outside and knowing you I feel like you've gotten comfortable who you are compared to a few, like it's less show and like now your business and keeping to yourself a little more. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, maybe that's getting older too. And then, just wanting to inspire people on a different level. And then also, maybe the shifts in how social media has evolved. I mean, to be on the platform for 11 years, you have to keep changing with the things like we talked about, it just being a picture, now it's a video. And I think the content being consumed now to what the content was being consumed back then was more motivation, and now it's more informative. And so I'm trying to provide value. And so when I post, that's what I'm thinking. What am I doing? Or when I'm posting, what kind of value am I providing to the viewer?
And how often do you have like certain content days that you have a schedule, or, I mean, do you just kind of go with the flow a little bit?
I mean, obviously, sometimes your days get busy, and I'm the one that posts. No one runs my account but me. I've never really had anyone run my account because I just don't feel comfortable that they're going to run it the same way. So I try to stick. I mean, I've had variety. Right now it's 3 a day, and I'm posting consistently. There's sometimes I can't get.
Is there a methodology to that? Like why do you do three posts a day?
I mean, the more you post, the more you grow, right?
Algorithms.
Yeah, and just being more exposure. And then everything I post is reels. I mean, I can't even tell you the last time I posted a picture.
And you make money off the reels, though, correct?
Yeah, only the way that you get the reels. And again, this is stuff that I would teach in my mentorship that people don't know about. But the two criteria.
I know you taught me. I mean, we sat in the gym. Remember that day? And we looked at my reels. And
and there's just so many different things that people just overanalyze. But it's be in the United States. So if you don't even live in the United States, you can't even get it. And then the other one is have a business or creator profile, and then you just have to wait. I don't have it. I don't know. I don't know too many big creators that have it. But then if they give it to us, we're gonna get all these views and get this money. So
it's crazy. I have that. I'll get a thing will pop up every once in a while.
Bonus play
and it'll say, if you get this, we'll pay you. And then I'll do it, and they won't pay me.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
but how do you come up with these crazy reels that you do, especially these funny ones?
They start in TikTok, and I find them on there, and then I just
so they're trends.
Some of them are, some that I see and I think that I could do it better in just more of a creative space where I, create the content and have a good eye for it. I've always, told myself content is king. So when I'm in the gym filming the content, I'm already way ahead, but I feel like I'm never ahead enough.
Where do you find all these girls, man? That's what I want.
Do you know what's funny? I actually see him at gym because I usually go later at night, and he's in there at night when no one else, because the gym closes early.
Yeah.
But he's in there with his light, and he's filming, and
yeah, I mean, I just either DM them and just ask them if they want to collab, and then they're down, and that's just kind of how it goes. And
you teach that in your coaching too?
No, I don't.
You always been a woman guy, man? I mean, what's the story?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like when I grew up, I feel like I always got along better with females than I did males. I don't know if it's maybe the conversation.
No, you know what it is?
What is it?
The Frenchies, bro.
It's the Frenchies.
They love the Frenchies. And I want to ask you about the Frenchies. So you breed Frenchies.
Correct.
And you bring these dogs. I've seen them in the gym. Amazing. I've been to your house, and I saw all the puppies there. How many litters do you have in a year's time?
Well, I'm up to like 9 females now that I have. So the most they would have is 2 in a year, 1 to 2. So, give or take anywhere between 9 to 18 litters. 3 of them are retired now. So technically I only have 6 that are, actually being bred.
How do you not get attached to these dogs, man?
Because I have 9 already.
I know.
I couldn't do that. It'd be hard.
But there was a couple at the gym you brought for quite some time, and I remember one of them had an incident with the back or...
Yeah, they have weird vertebrae, so if they jump up and down the, off the bed, it could be the couch, it can be anything that's just jumping down, and it was like $7,000 to get that whole thing. The MRI was $2,500, and then the surgery alone was $5,000.
MRI ain't even $2,500 for a human. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm like, how do people afford this? Like...
and how do people find out about the Frenchies? Do you have a website for it, or you just
have my
Instagram?
Yeah, just my Instagram page, which is the Worldwide Frenchies, and then obviously I promote them on mine. But I feel like I've been doing the Frenchie thing, like having them for so long that people just know I have them.
And their bloodline's good. And
I work with some of the top breeders out here in Vegas too, so I've always got good compliments from all my buyers that they're getting healthy pups and all that kind of stuff.
Do you sell them local, or do you ship them all over the world?
I have a nanny service that I've been working with for like 3 years, and essentially what they do is they have probably someone that gets a deal for their flights, and they just come pick up the dog from me, fly to wherever their local airport is, and then drop it off, and then they collect payment from them.
Wow.
How many do you have at your home right now?
I have 14.
And how many are for sale?
9 are mine, and then 4 for sale.
Angie always wanted one. She used to always...
Yeah,
before I knew you, bro, Angie would always be like, look at these dogs. And I'm like, we have 2 Yorkies, and like we travel with them everywhere. And she's like, I just want one. And I know she used to hit you up about the dogs, right?
Yep.
And everyone seems to have a lot of Frenchies now. Is that where Ross has a Frenchie too?
He got it
one
from
of
me.
yours? Okay.
Yep.
What's the draw to Frenchies versus different dogs?
I mean, for me personally, they're super mellow and lazy, and I don't have a ton of time for myself, so I don't want a dog that I have to like walk. And in Vegas, it's so hot. I mean, they can't even be out in hot weather, so I feel like they're lazy, and so I don't have to do as much.
How many actually sleep in the bed with you?
1.
Okay.
Is it the one that always comes to gym with you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll see her in there.
I've seen a couple in the gym though.
I've always seen I've seen you training people with ones hanging out of your hoodie.
Oh yeah, when I would have, if I would have some puppies, I'd
we went in the
them.
gym one day and he's just training. I look over and he's got a little head hanging out the side of his what's it called?
Any new projects in the works right now? Or
I've been putting my focus on, like I said, the mentorship, and then really trying to find ways to grow my my platform. And that's why I said like the reels are so important right now to grow. If it comes to social media, like posting on the reels, that's where the growth is. I just started a new page and it's Devin Physique workouts, and all I'm posting on there is workout videos and their reels. And just this month alone, I've grown 30K.
So every time you work out, do you film?
I try to. I'm doing about 3 days a week right now. Obviously, I'm lean, so I'm where I want to be. So I'm trying to maximize the content.
And how do you lean down your physique? Because I feel you're lean all the time.
Like we talked about, I don't really ever get fat, so I feel like I'm.
You do cardio now? I know you did work
6 days a
before.
week, 45 minutes.
And do you eat In-N-Out burger still?
At least once a week. Sometimes I add a couple extra ones in there and just don't tell the coach.
You have a coach? Or?
I do, yeah, Andy.
Oh, okay. Andy's your coach.
Yeah.
Okay. Andy's you training the newbie or?
No newbie. He just does my diet.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, a little technical difficulty. So, so the diet, I was just telling Devin that, I don't think anyone could tell me how to eat now. You know what I mean? I know how to get my body in shape, and you still feel like you need to take in a X amount of calories on certain days. I always believed in like a zigzag diet, meaning like you would have to have days where you eat a lot more, a lot less on certain days to develop the physique. And I mean, you're going to revert back. I mean, like I said, you're a lean guy, so you feel stringy when you don't cheat on your diet here and there, right? So
yeah, if I eat too clean, I feel like I get really lean.
And you have no thought process of ever getting back on a stage again, right? I mean, obviously you went for the tattoos, and I mean, tell me a little bit behind the tattoos. I mean, is there a meaning to what?
I mean, all my tattoos have, some start of a meaning for something, but as far as the amount, it just kind of, I got one.
When did you get your first one?
First one was 19, and I got it on my back. And then I got my my little Bible scripture in the front, and I had those for a while, and I was at 19, and my mom was like, when she found out, she was like in tears crying. Because my mom doesn't have any tattoos, and she's not a big fan of them either.
My mom told me, please never get any tattoos. That's what she told me, so I've honored it.
I saw this funny thing on TikTok today, and it was like, my body's my temple. I would never get a tattoo. And then they show a temple, and there's fucking like all these murals everywhere that looks like nothing but tattoos.
Yeah,
I did my first one when I was 14.
Really?
I built a tattoo gun out of my Walkman, and my mom smacked me in the face.
Oh, I think you showed me that one. Yeah.
I see.
The one on your knuckle, right?
Yeah.
Really?
I took my Walkman and I broke it, and I built a tattoo gun, and I tattooed myself, and I hid it from my mom, and one day I was doing dishes.
She saw.
So do you
she grabbed my hand.
Do you actually have an artist in Vegas that you use?
I have a couple that I go to out here, but I've always been like, whatever I'm getting, I'm going to go to who I think's the best for what I need versus sticking to the same artist for everything.
Do you have any place left anymore?
I have like a little bit on one leg, and then what else? My stomach and my back. That's
Do you think a lot of people, some people follow you for your tattoo art also?
I mean, I'm sure they're looking at
because I mean, people follow me for sneakers, for obviously the dogs, the cars, like all that stuff, not just bodybuilding. So I've kind of got a broad audience now. And did you feel that like that put out some sort of statement when you started getting tattoos, like?
I mean, I would assume so. I mean, obviously made me stand out more than anyone because most people in fitness aren't covered in tattoos. I mean, as the years have gone on, you obviously see like the more normalization of people having them.
Yeah.
But I never did anything other than doing what I wanted to do. Like if they liked it, cool. If they didn't, cool.
Yeah.
I just got the tattoos because I liked them.
I got my first professional one when I was 16, and back then that was before Dennis Rodman was all tatted up. So when I would play sports, it wasn't allowed, so they would take tape. The referees would put tape over the tattoos because you weren't allowed to play with them in high school.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, then now it's like there's kids tatted from head to toe in high school now.
Yep.
It's completely different.
Yeah, it's just more normalized.
So where else are you going to get done? Is there any other work you're going to?
I mean, finish my leg really, and then the stomach and the back would be something that would go last. But with fitness, those are two parts that when I'm doing content, I'm too scared to cover. What if it jeopardizes me having my back being able to look a certain way? So I've just kind of refrained. And then my stomach, I mean, then what, you're going to be able to see my abs? Probably not.
Mm-hmm. Is there any that you're going to get covered up? Like you're like, damn, I wish I didn't do this.
No, I have one tattoo on my back that I got covered years and years ago, and that was my first tattoo. And it was more so because the quality wasn't that good. But aside from that, I don't have any covered ones.
How many people still come up to you and talk about like social media early on?
What's funny is as I've gotten older now, I'm at 32, I have to remember there's some people that have never heard of Shredz. That generation's coming in where they haven't really heard of who we were. So, like I said, I've been around for a long time. So I think the biggest compliment I get is like, oh man, you're like an OG. You were one of my first fitness inspirations. And then it just reminds me like,
I think your reels would be more like you'd get more attention now when you're out and about. Like when you go out in Las Vegas, do people see your videos?
Yeah. So in Vegas, the main thing is like, oh, you're that TikTok guy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the big thing. I get more notoriety where I go now, and especially in Vegas with TikTok. And that's because TikTok shoots your videos to wherever you're located first. Like those are the people that are seeing your stuff. And I've seen I don't know if you've seen the Bears Friends with the Scott family, the chick and the older.
Yeah.
So they're huge
Roger.
on TikTok. Yeah, Roger. Yeah, they're huge on TikTok.
He lived here, He worked with Angie at the beach.
And I used to see between my videos and theirs, we were kind of growing at the same time. The difference is that they banned me and they didn't ban them. But they're from Vegas and now they live in OC. But I used to see their videos all the time. And
they're full-time content creators, I believe.
And I don't think that's how they started. Mm-hmm. And again, it goes back to what I'm saying. Like those people, when I was doing what I was doing, they were working normal jobs, and now they have these opportunities with TikTok and all these other places. They're not doing their normal jobs anymore.
Could you ever not be an entrepreneur at this point?
No, I can never work for somebody. There's no way.
It's tough. Once you've worked for yourself, you can never.
Was that was that like a position that you took on early on once you like learned the social media, say, you know what? This is just going to the moon.
Well, I guess on top of that, too, the tattoos, right? Once I started getting certain tattoos, those are obviously frowned upon. Still, even now, what jobs could I really get with all the tattoos that I have? There's certain ones.
There's
maybe,
a lot now.
Yeah,
there's
I mean, but would it be something that I would enjoy doing?
When I was younger, I wanted to get full sleeves and get everything done, and I was always afraid it would affect me one day. Because back in the 90s, it could affect you. But now you can go to a restaurant and someone's covered for their neck down and they're your waiter. Or you'll go see a lawyer and when they're in the gym, they're completely covered. They might not be covered beyond their wrist.
Yeah, correct.
Or a surgeon or whatever. It's like it's normal now to be tatted up. It doesn't affect you like it once did.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
How has the transition to Vegas been, though? Do you do anything that you didn't do in Orange County? Like, is there
I would
something?
say the big difference is definitely way less friends here, which is fine. I'm in a different state of my life and, being older where I don't care to I have a lot of acquaintances and I have a lot of acquaintances for certain things. I have friends that I go out with. I have my genuine friends. I maybe have friends that I go do random fun stuff with, but that's all it is. It doesn't really, I don't have a lot of friends that I'm, having deep conversations with. And that's fine for me. I stick to myself. I like being out here. Again, I came out here with the purpose of like picking and choosing who my friends are so I don't consume the wrong types of people and stay off track. And obviously it's hard. It's not the easiest. You could sit here and say, don't get sidetracked. Do we all get sidetracked for things? I mean, yeah.
It's so funny. When I moved out here, my friends from Orange County, like, you're going to hate it. You're going to move back. And here I am 20 years later. And I'm still here, which is crazy because I thought, maybe they're right? Because Orange County I felt was like the best place in the world to live. Obviously, California's had its downside the last couple years, but in the end, I say to Matt all the time, like the weather ideally is for me there. And I don't really enjoy the nightlife of Vegas. I mean, obviously at my age, it's different. Not to say I never have, but I feel we have the best restaurants. I mean, I'm sure you're still a guy that likes to eat, and the gyms have accepted you really well here, it seems like. I mean, you found a home you mostly train at Fit Club, right?
Yeah, pretty much. That's all I train at.
And you're allowed to kind of do what you do there, and, it's your job, right? Creating the content.
And that's what I'm saying. I keep to myself. I'm at a point now where, like, if it's not benefiting me and my goals, like, why am I doing it? Otherwise I'd rather just be fixated on those things. Even if it's those late nights going to the gym, set up the tripod, I'll find some kids too that are in Fit Club that they look hungry. And I'm like, hey, you want to shoot content with me? I'll shoot you. You shoot me. You get a free content out of it. It works every time. And they get inspired by it too. And that's one thing that I do pride myself on. I feel like most people that hang out with me, the first thing they say is, man, you inspired me to go do X, Y, and Z. So I give out an aura that makes them feel that way. And that's what I want to do, even for the young ones. Like, I want everyone to make money. There's enough to go around. So, and that's another reason why I like that mentorship. Like, I genuinely feel passionate about it. I've spoken in front of my mentor's people for one of his courses, and it was the first time that I spoke in front of something where I had zero fear. I was wasn't nervous. You know, when you're a kid and you're doing, you know, presentations, you're having to memorize stuff, right? Yeah. I'm not having to memorize this. I eat, sleep, and breathe this, you know? So when I'm telling them,
you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I know that they're not going to tell me something I don't know.
Is this all around fitness, though?
No, it's generalized. Okay. Like, I've dissected the platforms. Like, I mean, I've grown TikTok to 1.1 million. They banned me. 500,000. They banned me. 250. Like,
why did they ban you? What
just
for?
What my funny videos, you know, some of them
cross the line or something.
In their eyes, you know, they're very, very sensitive. And so Instagram, none of my videos have ever gotten taken down. It's just they're very selective. I think once they had that issue with something with China, they realized they were not doing the certain restrictions on things, and kids were seeing things they weren't supposed to see. Mm-hmm. But, you know, people are breastfeeding on there and the nipples hanging out, but that's cool, you know. But a girl in a, you know, a bikini that shows a little extra skin is not. So just certain guidelines. You don't really know the answers to certain things. Yeah.
You know? Is your TikTok up and running normal now?
I took 6 months off because I was just so annoyed that they kept banning me. So I just started a new one recently. But I mean, even when I had that 1 million account, we talked about it. Like, you know, they were paying me for the views. I would get up to like $6,000 a month. So I mean, think about that. Like, that's $6,000 they just took from me just because they banned my account. You know, and so that's the shitty part about, you know, you put your time and effort into these platforms for them to take it from you.
Do you have any like any companies that you work with that you own that you connect to it, or just the
no,
training?
Just, I mean, everything right now at this point is just me. You know, I mean, I don't work with a supplement company. I don't have any other like side brand deals. So it's really just everything I'm doing right now is just for me.
With your injury, tell me about your pec injury. I remember seeing on Instagram, bro, and like you did the whole dreaded.
I think that was 2015 or 2016. I was bulking at the time. I was like 200 pounds. And we
How
were
heavy a dumbbells were
It was
those?
150s each hand. And it was at that YMCA in Huntington. Yeah, it was a dope gym. My buddy just spotted me wrong. I had my elbows flared out, and snap we go.
How
it didn't hurt though. You know, I didn't know what to do, so I didn't move. Yeah.
Value.
And we went to the ER, and he was moving it. And I'm like, you supposed to be doing that? And he's like, yeah, you're fine or whatever. And so they pretty much told me I need to get surgery. And if I don't, then it's going to heal up on its own. And you're not going to be able to pull the tendon back because it's going to like recoil so tight that you can't do it. So, but he's like, if you get the surgery, you're looking at about a year's recovery. And I was like, fuck, I ain't taking a year off from the gym. I'll take my chances. And he said, you know, UFC fighters do it all the time. You just can't tell you what your strength level is.
Did you like tear it off? Or
yeah,
like,
so it completely ruptured off the tendon.
Yeah, he showed the video over and over. I actually remember the day it was on Instagram, like the next day, and I'm like, damn, this is crazy. He tore the pec. I mean,
and it was crazy that we were filming that day that it happened too.
I mean, I was kind of thinking, this stupid kid, you know?
Yeah,
because I'm like, damn, he's pushing those heavy bells, and I mean, you weren't super big.
Yeah,
shit, I toyed with those, you know what I mean? But I was 300.
And that was my second set too. The first one was nice and clean, but again, like my buddy just didn't spot me right, and it just was downhill from there.
I think about that all the time now. Every time I go to grab a dumbbell, I'm like, is this going to be the one?
I've had the tie.
Didn't that other kid? I don't know his name. He was training with Larry Wheels. I remember when I saw the video.
Yeah, the social media kid, Ryan. From UK. Ryan. Yes,
yeah, and he did pretty much the same injury, just on an incline bench.
It rolled. That was
way too much weight, though.
I mean, I've seen it a million times, but like, how did that affect you, though?
It didn't really. I mean, I was out of the gym for like a month. And then I was in
Why didn't you get the surgery, man? You just didn't want to be down, or?
Yeah, and it was hella expensive too. And you know what's fucked is I got an insurance. The one thing my dad did for me in my life was he kept me on his insurance. And then I got my own, and I kid you not, the day before my insurance was active, that injury happened. And I went there, and they're like, "Oh, it doesn't start till tomorrow." So my bill was like astronomically high. It didn't even make sense.
30,000. It was 30,000 for my bicep surgery because I had insurance, but I had to pay a deductible of $5,000 at the time, and it cost me It was a $30,000 bill to.
Yeah, so when you get the insurance, there's a start date, and so the start date was already too late for the surgery. I'm like, go figure, that would happen to me. Ugh. And so I just, I mean, it hasn't affected me. I don't lift heavy. It
doesn't affect your training at all or anything?
I mean,
you don't do chest like that anymore, do you?
No, I mean, I maybe go to 100 max. I mean, I lift pretty light for the most part, so I haven't noticed it. It's not like I'm flexing or doing shows.
You love to train now, though? Like, is it something that if you don't train, do you miss it? Or
I definitely think it's a part of my life where I do it. I mean, even the days that I don't feel like training, it's still a part of me. I feel like I need to do it because it's a part of my day. But like I told you earlier, the passion, I used to go twice a day, obsessed with it, making sure I didn't miss meals. If I see candy in my fridge, I eat it. Like I don't think twice about it. I'm not going over crazy about it. And same thing with the training. If I feel like I need to take 2 days off, I take 2 days off. So I think just more balance in my life. And
as you get older, you always do, right? I mean,
we don't train.
We don't train like we
there's
used to.
There's times where I won't train for a couple of days in a row, and then there's times where you train hard. But even when we go train, sometimes like every once in a while, I'll be like, I want to go grab the bigger dumbbells, and he's like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it.
But again, I'm not doing a show, so what's incentivizing me that I feel the need to go to push that next envelope for, other than my pictures? And I honestly like how I look, so I'm fine with that.
Yeah. I just like moving weight. It just makes me feel. I don't know. It's just me.
And that's the thing too.
He's
got
Of course we do.
Because I prefer the lighter weight and feeling the burn. You know, that's what I prefer. I feel like when I do heavy, I feel strong, but I don't feel like I completed myself.
It's weird. It's an ego, but it's like an ego. I don't know how to say this. Like an internal. Like if I was the only one in the gym, I would still do it. Not because I'm trying to show up, but it's not that heavy. But I just like it, when you're moving heavier weight, it just, the feeling you get from it, it just feels good.
Yeah. One of the guys asked me, like, what's your max for this? I'm like, honestly, bro, I don't think I've ever sat there and tried to max something because I don't really care how strong I am. I just want to look good.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that impresses you on social media today? Or do you follow some of the newer, younger generation? Or do you follow any fitness? Like, you obviously know who workout people are now, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, knowing me and, seeing Regan Grimes out here and these kind of people. I mean, do you feel like you know more about the fitness market than prior? Or
I mean, obviously there's
not really care.
There's more people at my level now than there used to be, and so I even learn from some people with certain things. But again, I always keep my mind open that I don't know everything. Even if I've been on this platform for years, there's still going to be people that find out shit for different things. I have a good friend of mine that was inspired by me, and he's killing it now, and he's in the millions with followers. I don't know, Christian Flinor. Do you know him?
Yeah, of course, he comes out here.
He's a great kid. Yeah. I've known him since he was like young. He was barely on social media, was hungry, and I remember he's like, I want to get where you're at, and he's pretty much at where I'm at.
Is he a full-time influencer now?
As far as I know, yeah. And I mean, we've had conversations, and it's crazy. Like the conversations we used to have, he'd ask me questions. Now we're talking about same things.
So now, if my social media is not impressive,
right?
So if I wanted to grow, it would be the first thing you would tell me to do.
Post. That's easy.
I posted today.
He posts a lot of funny stuff like memes and.
I used to. I just don't.
Well, I mean, the main thing is like, what are you wanting to get on the platform for, and what?
I think he's kind of stuck on Instagram, and I mean, he'll watch Instagram and he won't get any likes a lot of days. Like it goes way up and down. Like the algorithm's crazy.
It's weird. Me and him talk about this. There's times where I'll post something on Storyline, and it will get 100 views, and I have like 25,000 followers. And then the next day, I won't post nothing. The next day, it'll get 2,000. And then the next day, it'll be at 800. And then it'll drop to 200. And then it'll be to 2,700.
And is this on your story?
Yeah. It's completely
it makes
different
no sense.
every day.
So one of the things that I noticed with that, and I do it very often, is I'll wait a complete 24 hours of no stories. So meaning like there's just a plus button, and then I'll start with like an engagement post or something that gets people
reset it.
And for some reason, I've seen an influx of like maybe one day I only have 10K, and then an influx of like I have 80,000, 100,000. I'm like, where the fuck did these come from?
Yeah.
Do you post stories every day? No. You don't?
I just don't care.
I've noticed that if you're consistently posting every day, the views aren't as high.
No.
Because
but what he's saying there, I have seen that where I've shown him where they're nothing, and I wait a whole day, and then I'll post something, and then boom, it'll be at 500 in an hour.
Yeah, crazy influx.
And it almost seems like Instagram will block it, and they won't let all your fans see it.
And the other thing is, like, when you use links, you're essentially telling the viewer to get off of Instagram. Yeah. Why would Instagram want that? So they're gonna pigeonhole how much views you get.
I've noticed that, like, when we'll do a podcast, if you put a link up for it, hey, go check this out, you'll see it'll only be like 200 or 300.
Yep.
And then you wait the next day, and then boom, it's at 15.
And this wasn't a thing back in the day, like the chronological order and how things are. They're definitely smarter in the sense of like, you're gonna pay us if you want more reach.
Yeah, you can't do swipe up anymore.
Yeah, that's not even an option.
It's just it's a
link.
Yeah, it's the link now.
Yeah, but I understand why. If you're trying to drive traffic to YouTube, why do they want you to? Why are they going to show this? So you leave their platform
and go to someone else's.
So you're promoting another company.
So an alternative would be like DM me, because now it's not showing the link there. It's just having someone message you privately, and they stay on the app, and that's what Instagram wants.
Yeah, I've heard that from people that have gotten shadow banned, where if they post certain websites,
it's a good point. I do a lot of links on my stories a lot.
And that's why I always just put Linktree for everything and hope that when I'm promoting what I'm promoting, they understand to go to the Linktree and pick the one that's according.
You know what it is, though? People are lazy, though.
Yeah.
They don't want to have to click that and click this. They want it right there.
Correct.
Yeah. But, I mean, I guess it's just the game you got to play. Now I'm going to try that one day. I'm going to post nothing, and I'm going to do just a link, and I'm going to do nothing else for 24 hours and see where the numbers are.
So your mentorship, is there a price to a certain length of time, or how's it work?
Yeah, so it's 6 weeks. It's for a 6-week course, it's $1,000. And again, I do weekly Zoom calls with them, and then in between those Zoom calls every week, I work with them one-on-one through small calls and also, voice messages and stuff like that on how they can grow their platform. But like I said, the Reels is where it's at. I'm living proof with this Devin Physique workouts program. I'm growing by the thousands. It's growing faster than my personal. And it's all Reels.
Check it out. Yeah.
It's all Reels. Like,
see, now I need to post Reels.
I haven't posted anything but Reels, and I do about 2 a day. And right now, my in the last month, I've reached 4 million accounts on an account that has 30,000 followers, and it's just insane. Every single day I post now, and it's like boom, 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 the views. What I noticed that I'm doing now is collabing. So I'm collabing Devin Physique workouts with Devin Physique. So now the workouts they're both getting traffic at the same time. And it shows on workouts that it's getting a bunch of traffic. So, like, if you have a secondary account, you can link them together so that they post at the same time.
I see that when people have their thing.
I did it for the first time last week with one of the girls. She's like, let's try this collab. I'm like, all right, well, I've never done it. So instead of posting a funny video with a girl and just tagging her in my caption, we did a collab, and I got more views because she had 100,000 followers. And so it's just more of an influx.
Was that actually on Instagram? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So now if you went to my page, it would say Devin Physique, and then it would say her name. Yeah. And then on her page, same thing, Devin Physique.
There's a way you have to do that, though, right?
Yeah, you invite him as a collabor, and then you post, and you'll get notified that he invited you.
And then you click it, and then it shows on both
pages. And you either
pages.
Accept or decline.
Yeah, we different brands I work with, we have to tell the athletes.
It would be equivalent to, like, instead of me and you posting the same content on the same day or like trading days, we're just going to post it at the same time together, and we're both going to get each other's traffic.
Yeah, we'll get views. What if the person's private, though? I wonder if it makes a difference.
No, they probably you probably wouldn't be able to get invited.
I know you have to go.
Who has a private profile anymore?
Angie does.
Does she?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. She has like almost 100,000 people, and she's still private.
She'd get more views and more followers if she made it unprivate.
Yeah.
We're learning.
So.
I'm learning now. Now I need to post more. I need to post more
like
once every 2 weeks.
So I know what I'm going to get you for your birthday. I'm going to sign you up to Devin's
Yeah, see, like if you did my mentorship, the first thing I would say is like you manage people, so you should be showcasing where you're like kind of what you do with Regan when you travel and stuff. Like that's what I would look at your page as, because if you're managing people's accounts or helping them make money or whatever, the more people see you with the right people, they're like, I need to work with him.
But I don't want to work with more people.
Yeah. But see,
he's full.
But there's no problem still showing your life and going, you know what, I have a demand.
Yeah.
I just don't have the space. But when you can get on my wait list.
Yeah.
And then when it opens up and I want to do it. But if I'm not seeing that on your page, then how would I even know that was even a thing? I never knew you were a manager until you told me. Yeah. And then obviously your Instagram says manager map. but to me, your page doesn't reflect manager of what?
Yeah.
Like who do you manage? Like most people would put like Hani would always put like or he would put Phil Heath's coach or whatever, in his bio, because he wanted to obviously show that he coached him. So, having those top people as like you show what's her face pretty frequently. The Brazilian chick.
Brazilian?
Yeah, Rishna, yeah.
Puerto Rican.
Oh, Puerto Rican.
Yeah. Yeah. No, anyone I do stuff with, if something's worthy of posting it, I do.
Of course. Yeah, I mean that's how because I know you, that's how I would see your page as a representation.
My page sucks. You hear this? Ladies and gentlemen, my page is garbage.
We're gonna make it better.
We're gonna make my page. I'm gonna hit 30,000. That's my new goal, and it's all because of Devin's gonna make it happen.
Yeah. Well, listen, dude, we appreciate you coming on and sharing a little bit. We'd probably love to have you on again as you continue to strive and build this mentorship. Make sure you guys, if anyone's interested, make sure you guys check out Devin Physique, and Devin Physique Workouts is the newest.
Is the new Instagram, yeah.
So go check out his reels.
Yeah,
the reels, baby.
You have the funniest reels on TikTok, Instagram, man.
Oh my god, I forgot what I forgot who I was with. They're like, "Hey, look at this guy's video. This girl farted or something like that." I'm like, he trains at my gym.
Well, what's the best one that you've done? You feel? Yeah, it has to be like I just did a commercial with Angie, and it was for my Amplify, and she kicked me out of the house because I tried to snap my fingers and turn her into a different person. So, like, what's your favorite collab you've done?
Man, I've done so many, and I've had so many good ones. I think some of my best ones are when I do them by myself.
What was the one in the bathroom, though? The girl went in the bathroom or something, or you were in the bathroom, or...
I posted one going to the bathroom right recently.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like I was running through
He
the
has
door.
dude, every day I see one.
Yeah, I mean, who comes up with this stuff?
Just threw a chick up
honestly?
against the wall yesterday. I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that one came up.
Fucking
But
put
you
her up.
said this is a trend because I don't see this anywhere
so
else.
the way that TikTok works is whatever you're liking, it's going to show you more of it. So I always tell people, like what you want to create content for, because if you're liking funny stuff and you're doing fitness shit, you're not going to see any of that. So all the stuff I like is catered to what I'm trying to create. So I'll see posts like that. Like that one was, I literally just copied somebody and did mine.
What about the one that the girl was massaging you and then you massaged her and you were doing something else?
I just see that on Instagram, and then either I see something similar to that, and then I just make it up better than they do. Maybe their quality's not good, and
I just keep thinking about you're on the bed with the girl and you're like trying to grab on her and she farts. You like freak out.
that was the recent one. Yeah.
Oh man,
there was something in the car too, and you got in the Jeep and something. There was so many good ones, man.
There's one like when you get in the Jeep after your girl, and the seat was like closer, and I fall out, and the shoe flies out.
It is funny though, because people will forward me funny shit.
Yeah.
And at least once a month, somebody will forward me like, "Hey, look at this one," and I'm like, "I know him. I've seen that one already."
And I like being goofy, so I think that's why I like doing the videos. I enjoy making people laugh, and then I enjoy doing them. And so that's why I do.
You don't
them.
seem like that type of guy though. When you walk in the gym, dude, you're pretty serious about like what you're doing and what you're going on.
But most people that know me like that, they know that like I'm that way. I'm goofy. I like to laugh.
See, I used to always post like funny memes and like borderline cross the line memes. And one day, this was like 3 years ago, I posted something and it was some sexual shit. And my little like 10-year-old niece messaged me and said, "Hey, what does this mean?" And I felt like the biggest dickhead in the world. And after that, I'm like, I'm done. And I haven't done it since.
I'm blocking you too.
I can't I'm like, what do I say to her? Like,
Yeah.
I'm being fucked up and I'm being like inappropriate. My little niece sees this and she's 10.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I haven't posted one since. But I used to always like push the
them out,
envelope.
yeah.
Oh, for sure. Now I'm like, can't do this no more.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you so much,
Thanks
man.
again.
We
Yeah,
appreciate you
thanks for
coming
having me. I
on,
appreciate
and we'll do it again sometime.
Yes, sir.
We're out.
That's awesome.
How far back are you guys with the